I honestly, like, part of me really was in disbelief because I'm like, okay, why would law enforcement be watching me? I'm not doing anything wrong. I knew that something wasn't right. If I was driving away from work or whatever, there was always cars following me. And it just felt weird. Matter of fact, the fun fact, when the first time I seen that, I actually called the police on one of them. And I told them, hey, there's this weird guy taking pictures of me, what's going on? The cop, they came, they pulled them up, they had their lights on, they were talking to them, and he came up to me, he's like, oh no, he's just taking pictures of the signs, you know, they're doing advertisement, but that's when I realized he actually showed them the badge and let them know what was going on. You know, so the cop even tried to downplay it, like, hey, it's just a guy taking pictures of his sign, you know, don't worry about it. All right, story time, my first day of prison. Listen, if anybody that's been to prison and they tell you they were not nervous, they're absolutely lying. Reason being is because you have no idea what the expectation is when you walk into the prison. So when I went to federal prison at Terre Haute, Indiana, we were actually locked down for a few days because of an incident. So when I got to the cell unit, you can see trash and things like that everywhere because they were locked down for a few days. Now, I am Muslim. At the federal prison I was at, it was separated by race and geographical location. When they put me in that cell, it was actually a white cell, which is a no-go. Me as a Muslim cannot cell with a white guy. So he basically told me, what are you? What time you're on? I basically told him, hey, I'm Muslim. I'm rolling with the Muslim. He said, hey man, look, no disrespect. This is just how the prison operates. I cannot have you in my cell. So him and I basically talked to the lieutenant and the counselor there. They're able to find me to a different cell, a Muslim cell. I got out of prison December 2019. I had to check into a halfway house, but I got out of custody June of 2020.
And so that's obviously like right before the pandemic started?
Just about, right before it, when it was pretty much starting, yeah. I joined TikTok, I believe about 4 or 5 months after I was officially off federal custody. I don't know if it's just maybe because I just got out of prison, but how weird is it to walk into a bank with a mask on? I'm about to walk in there right now.
What the fuck, man?
You know, honestly, I really did feel like it was like a kid's app. I was hearing about TikTok when I came out, but when I seen it, I was completely wrong. I was scrolling through it and I'd seen people making videos about them doing their time in prison. I said, hey, you know what? I might give it a try as well. I was going through basically a real tough time with depression. I started to post a video on TikTok where you can use a sound, you can post random pictures and videos. I put videos of my mugshot, me in court, and then me transitioning back to society about being with family and things like that. And then it just absolutely blew up. And I said, hey man, this actually works. Some people do time and never talk about it, but for me, when I clicked that record button and I posted a video about my time in prison, talking about it was actually making me feel better about my situation. That one reached about 500,000, my first video. Can you listen to music in prison? The answer is yes. Can you wear hats in prison? Yes. Can you eat chips in prison? Absolutely. Did we have clean water in prison? The answer is no. What was prison like? One word, pain. So do I feel like my religion played a part into my sentencing? Yes, absolutely. I really wholeheartedly believe that there are some racism and prejudice in our criminal justice system. When you go to purchase a firearm, you fill out a form, and on that form I lied saying that I was not using drugs when in actuality I was using drugs.
And was your sentencing unusual?
Yes, it went about 40 months over the actual guidelines. I was supposed to get 10 or 15 months. That's anybody with a gun case. So I grew up in a Middle Eastern household. My parents split up about when I was 3 or 4 years old. Primarily, I was raised by my dad's side of the family. So, but other than that, I mean, it was like pretty much, you know, they caring and loving. You know. Dearborn is predominantly an Arab city, so it's kind of like a little Middle East within, you know, America. When you live kind of like in a Middle Eastern kind of a household, they try to like shelter you as much as possible. I was pretty much dealing with mental health my whole life as far as depression. After high school, that's where things kind of went downhill as far as mental health, because now I'm not in school anymore, it's just me. I was working at the pizzeria. I did a big mistake as far as not go to school right away. I decided to take a break. At least I kind of had people I could hang around with in school and make people laugh with friends. But they were all gone. I got into drugs.
These are slices. We cook the slices ready to order. Weighing about like 3 ounces, 3.5 ounces. So when we make the slice, it comes out like a little small personal pizza rather than like a regular slice type of thing,
Working in Detroit as a pizza driver is probably one of the most dangerous jobs you can have. You go to apartments, you go late nights. I mean, there's blocks with no porch lights.
Your Honor, I work in my dad's pizzeria in the city of Detroit. Your Honor, of the 8 years we have been open, I have been robbed at gunpoint. I have been jumped and robbed on deliveries. There were times I pulled up to an abandoned house and then I ended up getting robbed. As you know, Your Honor, being a pizza delivery guy is a matter of life and death. That's when I bought and registered a firearm.
So, when did you first start viewing like extremist material online?
For me, it was just a matter of like shock and awe. Why would somebody want to watch an action movie? It's one thing to watch an action movie, but it's another thing to like see stuff and it's actually like real life. Just to kind of get that exhilarating thing, just to pass the time,
Yeah, I mean, I have the video where they burned that pilot. I have a bunch of pictures and videos of, beheading stuff.
I was getting repeated DMs from this person, and this person portrayed themselves to be a soldier or a fighter of ISIS. And they said that, hey, we're looking for people to do coordinated attacks at these particular locations. I ignored him. I mean, one day he just blew up my DMs on Twitter and was basically calling me a coward, calling me a bunch of names and this, that, and I returned that favor back, started to cuss him out, and then he said, hey, I'm getting ready to take this is what he said, getting ready to take myself over there and getting ready to die and this, that, and the third. And him and I were just going kind of back and forth, but like for me, it was obvious. What's so weird is I knew it clicked that something didn't seem right with this. It just was not right at all.
All right, so one day I was leaving work, normal day, I was getting out. As I pull out from work, not even 10, 15 feet later, I see 2 cop cars pulling me over. I thought that was weird. I just got out of work, nothing happened. Anyway, as I'm driving, I see the cop cars with their lights on. I hurry up and pull over to this intersection right here. As I pull over, the cops immediately had their weapons drawn, telling me to get out of the vehicle, get out of the vehicle. One cop comes to the door, tells me to get out the car. I tell him, hey man, I got a gun on me. I did have a gun. They threw me on the ground. They were able to retrieve the gun. They brought in K9 units. They searched the car. There they found the marijuana. So I was charged with possession of a firearm, CCW, and possession of marijuana. I asked them, why did you pull me over? They said, well, one cop said you were speeding. Other cop said I had these prayer beads on my my rear view. He said, this is why we stopped you, because of the destruction of vision. The whole stop lasted about maybe 3 hours, where they actually searching the car up and down. They brought in the K9 units. just absolutely tearing my car up. And they were pretty much posted for a few hours by the time I actually got transported to the local jail. I stayed the night and I was able to get out in the morning. The officer that discharged me said that the prosecutors are still debating whether they're gonna file charges or not. But about a month after the fact, they did file another warrant and they arrested me on another traffic stop. I was getting off work, same thing. I'm driving carefully and they pulled me over. And as soon as they pulled me over, they told me to step out and they handcuffed me and told me I have a warrant for my arrest.
So they re-arrested you for the same thing?
For the same thing.
So got a contact, she DM'd me on Twitter and she showed me a few pictures of herself. The pictures portrayed her to be a very beautiful girl. Her posing at the mirror, photos of herself and her family, her and her brother. She showed me like random pictures of, her brother's graduation, her graduation. We decided to exchange phone numbers and we were just texting nonstop all day, every day.
Did you ever actually talk to her on the phone?
No.
And so had you ever had like a girlfriend prior?
No, I haven't had a girlfriend. I mean, at that time, I haven't had as much as, getting hugged by a girl or kissed by a girl. I've had high school crushes, but it was a situation where, I was rejected by them. So I haven't had any type of experience with women, It just quickly escalated from getting to know one another to, potentially talking about marriage. And I let her know, like, hey, my faith dictates that I can't play games with you. So we're talking about our whole future within that few days to a week. It was like, hey, we can't keep going this behind our families' backs. I think it's best for each other if we meet each other's families. I told my dad about it. He said, well, we'll go to Ohio, no problem. And I told her, hey, everything's final on my set. Everything is good. The next day, she basically said that, hey, I'm getting second thoughts about this. I don't know about this. And I don't know if we should talk anymore. And that was it. That's it. Never heard from her again. Maybe I came off too clingy. Maybe I was just me. I was rushing the situation. I entirely put that blame on myself. A couple weeks after I stopped hearing from Gada, I got a new message on Twitter from Jenna. She's basically telling me, like, hey, I really need to talk to you. I feel like God has connected us to talk. I really need to talk to you. She is a 19-year-old Iraqi from Michigan who lives with her parents. She said that she wore a full abaya, they call it, and that's basically a full veil. Her parents are like absolutely destroying her life. She was suicidal, she's tired of life, and she needs somebody to talk to. So she basically was portraying the fact that she just had it with life. For me, my intention was to get to know this girl and help her out. I said, okay, I lost the first one, maybe the second one, I basically was telling her, like, hey, I'm thinking about, was it that conversation? No, it was like a week beforehand. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a situation where I was at work and I was pretty much tired of work, and I told her pretty much like, I don't know if I can keep doing this anymore, you know. And then that's when she called me. So.
And that was the first time you had spoken?
Yeah.
And what was that conversation like?
I mean, she was basically telling me like, hey, you know, you kind of need to keep going, and you know, it's not right for you to, you know, it's not right for you to self-harm yourself, you know. So if it's a situation where you want to do something like that, it's supposed to do it in the way of God. I'm like, at the phone, I'm like, man, you're crazy. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. You know, I'm just dealing with some issues right now, you know?
Was that the first time she had brought up the idea of hurting other people?
No. I mean, we exchanged so much messages for random stuff, but I think within the second or third week, she started mentioning that. For me, I was like, steady keep brushing it aside. I kept on telling her, like, you don't know what you want, and you probably just need to get married. I actually ghosted her, and I was like, you know, I'm done with this for 3 days, because the conversation just got too ridiculous with her on her end. For 3 days, I ignored her, and for those 3 days, she was blowing up my phone. It shifted off from the violent stuff to now she needs somebody to talk to, now that she misses me. Just like, hey, my mom beat me because I didn't cook the rice right. For me, it was a matter of flirting with her. I never had experience with women or talking with women. I was always awkward and shy around women. So for me, those were the things that was turning her on. When I try to venture off to other things, I seen her pulling away, you know. And I was scared to lose her. It was pretty much a random day. I woke up, Jenna texted me and asked me that, hey, are you going to work? I said, yeah, I'm going to work today. She's like, okay. So just getting ready, go to work, or go fill up gas. I go to park over here, which is where usual parking spot. I go over there to go open the store. And as I'm walking to go open the store, I just see one federal agent come out with a big gun, like AR looking type of gun. He told me to get on the floor. I looked at him like that, and I was completely in disbelief, like, what's going on here? And pretty much I knew it. I'm surrounded by a bunch of federal agents with guns in my face telling me, get on the floor, get on the floor. And I told them, hey, you know, this is my name. You make sure you got the right guy. They say, yeah, we got a warrant for your arrest. And I look at one guy's bulletproof vest that says FBI. I'm like, FBI? I say it out loud as I'm thinking. The guy tell me, yeah, we're actually all FBI. And I'm like, what in the world did I do to get in trouble with the FBI? As I'm arrested here, they did also simultaneous raid at my house. They cuffed my brother. They took my mom out of the house with my baby sister.
So after you're taken into custody by the FBI, are you ever released after that, or are you just in custody?
No, I did not see the light of day until I got out of prison. So they take me to the FBI building at an interrogation room. They do their little formal introductions. They tell me what I was charged for. I initially told them, I said, lawyer. I said that a few times. They tried to give me a paper to sign off my rights. I pushed it back and I said, hey, at this time, I'd like to speak to an attorney, please. That time the conversation was supposed to have been ended. But instead they say, well, we still have some more questions. And then they kept on prying. And then that's where they brought up that other stuff. My heart dropped in a sense because I'm like, this is what this is about. And then I repeatedly kept on asking him, what am I being charged with? He said firearms. So I'm like, why is this even relevant then if I'm not being charged with this stuff? During the FBI interrogation, the FBI made it seem that Jenna is in the second room next to me in trouble as well. I'm telling them this is a whole misunderstanding. I go to the courthouse to get arraigned on charges. And I sit down with an attorney, and the attorney tells me, she reads the complaint, and she reads that Jenna was an informant. I'm like, she's an informant? And my lawyer was like, yes, she's an informant. And I literally put my head down. I was like, it was heartbreaking. Imagine a relationship ending. You're in a state there's always a stage of denial, you know? So yeah, it was a weird way to deny it, given the fact that I was in custody, you know, not broken up, you know, but no, I didn't want to believe it.
There was no answer at the home of Халіла Абу-Раяна. This is a photo of the 22-year-old holding up one finger. The FBI claims this demonstrates part of his alleged support for ISIS. The feds have been watching Abu-Rayana since last May. The Dearborn Heights man came under surveillance after pro-ISIS Twitter posts, gun purchases, and the online conversations Abu-Rayana had with someone he didn't know was an undercover FBI agent. Abu-Rayana told that agent he had an AK-47 and, quote, "I tried to shoot up a church one day. It's one of the biggest ones in Detroit. I had it planned out. I bought a bunch of bullets. I practiced reloading and unloading."
My lawyer, Todd Shanker, he gave me this quote that a grand jury indicts a ham sandwich, meaning whatever charges you put on a grand jury, the grand jury is going to indict you on it. And for them to return back with no indictment on terrorism really just goes to show that the prosecution did not prove beyond reasonable doubt that there was some type of crime committed there.
Now calling case number 16-30039, United States of America versus Халіла Абу-Rayaana.
Your Honor, Todd Shanker, appearing on behalf of Mr. Ryan, standing to my left. They took advantage of this young man, and they inserted an undercover agent. Everything that came after that was about Khalil trying to say what he thought she wanted to hear. And they tried to radicalize him, and by radicalize, I don't mean looking at videos on Twitter. I mean going out and hurting somebody. And he never did it. He never did it. And the closest thing in that affidavit is the paragraph about him loading up his car with, and he told the undercover that it was an AK-47, and his dad found it. Well, his dad has submitted this affidavit. That never happened. Government executed search warrants. And did they find an AK-47? No. And what I think is interesting in these conversations that have been outlined for the court, they left off the conversation that was had with Khalil the night before the arrest. The undercover brought up the church shooting again. She said, whatever happened to that? And Khalil said, I don't want to hurt anybody. What I want to do is marry you and have a family. But just as every other time that he said that, she would say, she basically said no. She said, you're a fraud. Her name was Jannah Bride. Jannah in Arabic means paradise. Coincidentally, Rayyan in Arabic means door to paradise.
My lawyer told me, he's like, hey, look, you know, we couldn't go to trial, but I just feel like the facts of the case for the gun charge is probably not in your best interest. I feel like, you know, you should probably plead guilty because it's going to be very hard to, you know, show that you are innocent when, you know, I was already pled guilty to the state and whereabouts. Yep. some people just talk straight for like a minute. What I do is like I try to take like little takes, you know, so I can just gather my thoughts. Some people ask me, why are you cutting? Why are you cutting? Because, you know, I don't like to speak just 1 minute, just straight, you know. An idea might pop up, I might mess up. And if I mess up, I can just press the little delete key right here, you know, and I just go from there. So do I have any tips for a CO starting out? Well, first and foremost, this is how I want you guys to look at it. Don't look at yourselves like cops. Do more like counselors. We understand that you guys have a job to do. However, respect goes a long way. If you guys respect us, we will respect you. For about 6 months, I was in solitary confinement due to the allegations of my case. They felt like I was too high profile to be out in general public. I am not the same ever since then. I really do firmly believe that a part of me actually did break when I was in there. I felt like I was forgotten. I mean, I thought my family forgot about me. I thought that this was going to be my life, that I was going to be in solitary confinement. I got into the fetal position and I broke down. It was brutal. It was torture. What happens if you cry in prison? Now, prison is surrounded by men, so it is very a masculine environment. One might think that it's very weak to cry. However, you are in prison, your freedom is taken away. So there are inmates who do cry. So if you go to a federal active yard, groups are separated by a thing called cars. You have state cars, you have religious cars, and you have gang cars. So if somebody's new and they walk in, they say, what car are you in? So basically, what time are you on? So a lot of people have this idea, the food in federal prison, you're gonna get like steaks and scallops. Federal prisons are not like what it used to be. Don't get me wrong, you do have some good trays, but for the most part, it is trash. It's prison. Prison etiquette that I learned, part 6. Today's lesson, we're gonna talk about calling someone the B word. So if you have been following me, yes, I was in prison with the Somali pirate, the one they made the movie out of. He was the only survivor when they hijacked that American ship. So I have a story time on this when I got sent to SEG over a fight that I was involved with. Now some guy just walks into the TV room and without asking permission changes the channel. My Muslim brother and the guy kind of get into it, words are exchanged. They go in the cell, start tussling. I seen the Muslim guy have the dude in a headlock, so I want to go break it up. But what I didn't know is the guy's finger was attached to the door, so his finger was severed as soon as I opened it. His finger looked like really like a hot dog. The guy goes to medical and I'm trying to clean up the whole damn mess. It was my cell was funny part. So the last 6 months to your sentence, they call it getting short. Basically, you're on your way out the door. Everybody was getting on my nerves. So what do you wear when you get released from prison? No, you're not going to wear the jumpsuit or the prison uniform of that institution. What a lot of people do is they'll wear their grays, which you can buy off commissary, which is like gray sweatpants or gray t-shirt. At least the prison I was incarcerated at, about a week or two before you get released, you can actually have your family send you in clothes as well. Last couple days, I didn't sleep. I couldn't sit still. Fun fact, actually, the day I was supposed to get out, they were supposed to have a federal execution planned the same day. They had protesters, they had news, they had everybody there getting ready for that execution. So they pretty much locked down that whole area. So a camper had to drop me off at a local Walmart. Camper just literally dropped me off there, and what do I do in the middle of Indiana, you know, and I didn't have a phone, obviously. And I was just asking people, you know, can I use your phone? A few people said no, and one lady actually did say, yeah, you can use my phone. I called my dad, said, hey, I'm at the Walmart, this section.
The green one over there, right in front. Where is it? Where is it? You see green one over there in front.
ما شاء الله عنك ما شاء الله عنك
الحمد لله على السلامة طب حطوا كانوا وراحوا يا الله أكبر الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله.
Now that I'm out of prison, I have gotten into a relationship where it's serious now. At first, yes, it was very difficult for me to actually trust this person. I initially thought for a while that this person was, in fact, an undercover informant. History is repeating itself.
So do I feel like the feds are still watching me? I really do think so. Now, I'm not going to get into how I know for a fact they're still watching me, but I really know for a fact that it is happening, and that's okay. I'm not really doing anything. If they want to waste their resources, go ahead and waste their resources.
When this person found out what the actual facts were, you know, she was very understanding that, you know, hey, I can see why now you had your thoughts and your paranoia where it came from. And I'm glad I made the decision to trust this person, where now it's a serious relationship now.
It's just like this was like the worst, basically, like it was a real relationship to you with both these women.
Yeah.
And it was fake to them, but it was real to you.
Yeah.
And now like your like worst relationship is just like available for anyone to like parse, like you read the transcripts,
Yeah.
listen to the audio. Like, have you gone back and read those transcripts or listened to the audio?
Yeah, I mean, I have not necessarily listened to the audio, but I have read the transcripts, some of the conversations we've had, the things that I've, you know, said. And I mean, I just can't believe that I was, like I said, it was like a real relation to me. I firmly believe that these women were actual women who were actually interested in me. The FBI knew exactly what I was missing in my life, and that was a girl.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Where's your parents?
She just stepped out to Kroger's. But she's gonna be back any minute. What's wrong? Why do you say you wanna hang yourself today? Did you say you wanna kill yourself today?
Maybe.
Why do you say that?
Tired of this, you know. I'm tired of this. We're doing the same thing every day. You know what I'm saying?
But you're just saying that, right? Like you didn't plan anything.
No, because I bought a rope this morning. You know, I bought it. You know, it's not that hard.
What do you mean it's not that hard? It's hard to take your own life, Khalil.
That's a lot. But it's just, I think maybe Allah will understand. So,
Yeah, but how do you want to do it? Like, what do you mean?
I used to tie the rope and then see if we could stand and put a chair, and I tie my neck around the rope and then I kick the chair, and already like a minute or two I'll be over, you know. Just like how they, you know, how
You
they
don't have a rope. You're just joking, right? You don't have no rope or nothing.
No, that's what I do. I'm not, I told you I don't like to lie.
You have a rope?
Yeah.
Where'd you get your rope from?
There's a dollar store, you know, it's easy to get one. You know, it's not the problem of getting a rope, it's just, you gotta do it, that's all.
And then your family, and then you have your little sister, Khalil.
I mean, they're gonna be sad for a little while, but they'll get over it.
But you want to do it in your house?
Maybe, yeah.
No, that's not. Please get that thought out of your mind, Khalil. That's
not. That's why I let you know.
No, Khalil, that's. Nobody should take away their own lives. Habibi, no. Nobody should take away their own lives. It's haram. It's not something that we should be thinking about. Allah gives us trials, problems, but we have to be strong enough to tackle these problems. You know, nothing stays the same. I mean, like I told you before, you know, when it's... Subhanallah, this is making me really sad. When it's for the sake of Allah, when it's jihad, or when it's based on our aqeedah or for a cause, that's the only time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows it. But not to put your life to waste and just hang yourself like you say you want to do. That's not the right thing to do.
I mean, inshallah will be okay, you know, inshallah everything will be alright. Well, I mean, I'm feeling a little better that I'm talking to you, you know.
And you promise that you're not gonna do anything to hurt yourself.
I promise you. Yeah, I promise you.
Okay, good. And thank you for trusting me and calling me to help you with this. Thank you.
Alright, anytime. I love your voice, by the way.
Jazaka khairan. Okay, smile. Don't be sad.